Here I go, I'm reporting you to the cops. Fills me with delight, and here I go, I'm reporting you to the cops, and all my neighbors think I'm right. It's like the Lonely Island knew that our show existed for them to put that song out at the right time they did.
Yeah.
Welcome back to StillerBros at the Movies, where today we are talking about something a little nostalgic but a little new, with The Naked Gun.
So, The Naked Gun is a franchise that has been running for a little over 40 years now, and it came out about 40-some years ago with the Zucker Abrams team, the guys behind Airplane and Top Secret.
And it's probably one of the most well-known spoof movies of all time.
Part of it is just the fact that it jump-started Leslie Nielsen's career, giving him a very late in life explosion, given that at 62, he basically went from that guy actor, to a new Leslie Nielsen movie's out in theaters. Let's go see it. Mr. Magoo. No, thank you.
But the other thing is probably the fact that one of the most prominent supporting actors in the movie ended up getting arrested for double murder, and then famously getting away with it.
Rest in piss, you stupid bastard.
But either way, the spoof movie. Is there anything like it? No.
I mean, arguably a lot of cartoons are like it, but the thing about the spoof movies is, like with grunge music, the 2000s killed it.
Yeah, spoof movies were a thing that was basically popularized by the likes of Mel Brooks and the Zucker Abrams Zucker team and the Wayans family and all kinds of other popular comedians who felt the need to make movies but also wanted to do something weird and cartoony. And eventually the market got so incredibly oversaturated, mostly with just bad or even god-awful, unwatchable movies, that eventually it just became a dead genre.
And for the longest time, people have been obviously scared away from doing spoofs until now.
Like, it's been a thing that spoofs are basically just like things that YouTubers make or just thrown away on a video on demand. Hell, the closest thing we've gotten to a spoof movie in like the last 10 years was Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping, and that was like 10 years ago.
Speaking of which, this is the first Naked Gun movie without the contribution of the Zucker Abrams Zucker team, which is fine because one of the members of that team, David Zucker, is just a little tiny, just a minuscule, massive douchebag.
Yeah, from what we've heard interviews with the man, and he does not seem to understand how to be a decent person, and also Jim Abrams is unfortunately gone now, so that's probably the main reason why it's just like, hey, if we're gonna bring spoof movies back, how about we get some new blood in here?
So this time around we brought in, like we mentioned before, a member of the Lonely Island to take over as director.
Yes, Akiva Schaffer, 1/3 of the Lonely Island, alongside his friends Jorma Taccone and Andy Samberg. They're not in this movie, but still it's given us as an excuse to talk about the Lonely Island and the fact that they're one of the best comedy trios to exist in the last 20 years.
Yeah, and it's just kind of, they're hilarious. And if you listen to the Lonely Island and Seth Meyers podcast, they're actually a lot more smart and thoughtful and thinking through on their comedy than you would expect from the guys who made such classics as Dick in a Box, Diaper Money, and Mother Lover.
Yeah. For the guys who are just like, let's throw a bunch of random stuff at the wall, put a lot more thought into their videos than you would have ever imagined. And sometimes random stuff getting thrown against the wall works, and sometimes it doesn't. Here, hopefully it does work, because we've got someone who can smartly do it, as opposed to the majority of the movies, which were mostly done after a certain point by the likes of Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer.
Two people who, if I had anything to say about it, would have a shoot-on-site order from the security of every major studio in Hollywood.
To wound, not to kill. We need to make that clear.
Yes.
But in addition to Akiva Schaffer, the pedigree on this movie is also the fact that Seth MacFarlane is a producer, which is something that's been left over for a really long time. The Naked Gun has been something that they've wanted to reboot for a long time in Hollywood. for such a long time that for a while, Ed Helms was attached to star in it, or at the very least in negotiations. And while I don't think that would have been the worst casting, it definitely shows that they wouldn't have understood what made The Naked Gun so successful as a franchise.
The thing about The Naked Gun is that it was Leslie Nielsen playing a comedic character completely straight. At least in the original TV show. He got goofier in the movies, but that's neither here nor there. But the point is that Leslie Nielsen was a respectable dramatic character actor, but he was playing this role that he would typically play, but it was silly.
Like the joke of Airplane and Police Squad and some, not all of the scenes in The Naked Gun was that Leslie Nielsen was basically playing to type, except instead of saying normal stuff, he would be saying ridiculous stuff like,
We're sorry to bother you at a time like this, Mrs. Twice. We would have come earlier, but your husband wasn't dead then.
Yeah. And so this time around, they decided, why not take an actor who is similarly within this genre and put him in the spotlight as the new Frank Drebin, and we have that actor.
Conveniently, just one step down the alphabetical list of actors.
Yes.
Liam Neeson.
Yes.
So the second they announced that Liam Neeson would be starring in this movie, it was just like the light of heaven shone down and declared, they get it.
Yes, and to the people out there who don't realize that Liam Neeson is funny, I recommend you go check out Ted 2, because his scene in Ted 2 is one of the funniest parts of the entire movie.
That's right. I've been led to understand that tricks are exclusively for children. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, they say tricks are for kids in the commercials.
And is that enforced by law?
Not to my knowledge, no.
And so Liam Neeson coming in to play the new version of Frank Drebin is just perfect casting. And of course, Liam Neeson isn't the only person in the movie. We've got Paul Walter Hauser making his second movie in a row, joining his co-star from last week, Pedro Pascal, in the I just was in one movie last week and I'm in a completely different movie this week. How do you like me now?
And then playing the love interest this time around, we have Pam Anderson, who has kind of had a career resurgence herself the last year or so, with The Last Showgirl last year and now this.
This, I think, is basically her attempting to be like, hey guys, I can be funny too. And obviously the idea with casting her is the same kind of idea with casting Liam Neeson. The idea basically being, hey, this is the kind of person who we would cast in the serious version of this.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, we need a femme fatale. Oh, look, it's Pam Anderson. And also, conveniently, age appropriate to Liam Neeson.
Yes.
But it's also just a case of Akiva Schaffer was brought on specifically because of the movie he did 2 years ago, Chippendale Rescue Rangers, which is obvious by the fact that when he came on, the two writers of Chippendale Rescue Rangers were brought on as well.
Yeah. But so this time around, we're very interested to see what we got, because obviously seeing a comedy in a movie theater is a very missed experience.
Yeah, comedies as a whole, not just spoof movies, but comedies as a whole, feel underrepresented in movie theaters. It's basically just comedy as a genre is incredibly subjective, and no Hollywood executive wants to take the risk on, well, if we put out a bad comedy movie, then we're out the money that it costs. So how about instead we make a genre movie with jokes in it, so that if the comedy doesn't work, people can at least say they saw a good horror movie, or a good superhero movie, or a good buddy cop movie.
Yeah, so this time around, it's a comedy with actual jokes in it, and we're interested to see what it is. Obviously, we're hoping that this does well, just because we would like to see more comedies in theaters.
And also, it would be kind of nice if Akiva Schaffer directed one movie that didn't bomb at the box office.
I mean, technically Chip and Dale, but that went straight to streaming, so...
Either way, we're hyped for this, just for the simple fact that it's a comedy movie in a way that we have not seen a comedy movie in a long time. Okay, like 9 years.
Somewhere around that time.
But still, comedy movies need to have a resurgence in theaters. As much as it's great that they still have a home on streaming services and everything like that, it would just be nice to see new comedies out where people can see them.
Yeah.
But either way, we'll see just how much of a comedy this actually is after the jump. So the thing about rebooting The Naked Gun now in 2025 is that they've had almost 30 years of cop movies and spy movies to pull whole new tropes from, and they pulled every single one.
Yeah.
It's actually amazing how many cop and spy movies they've been pulling whole new tropes from. And the worst part is we cannot give away any specific examples without ruining some of the best jokes in this movie.
Yeah, they saved a lot of the best jokes for the actual movie, which is great because we got to be surprised.
Like, there's just the whole chunks of this movie that were not in the trailers. There were solid gags in the trailers and all the material that's come out, but it wasn't all the best stuff.
Yeah.
And that's great. And one of the best things about it is the fact that it's made to specifically look like your stereotypical action movie. It's made to look like that.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. First of all, one of the best things about this is that it feels like a Naked Gun movie made in 2025.
Yeah, it really does have all the hallmarks. It takes a second before it finally is like, okay, now we're going to be a Naked Gun movie. First, it's like, okay, we're going to be a typical police procedural movie. It's a little misdirection,
which is kind of a thing that happened with the first Naked Gun movie, with the Naked Gun movies originally at least. But it felt like a Naked Gun movie from the jump.
Yeah, it felt like they really got it. It's a spoof movie that isn't just pulling, oh, well, remember this movie? You don't? Well, here it is anyway. Or, you remember this movie? Remember this celebrity that's in the news right now?
We only saw the trailer for this movie. Here's the reference to it. Hopefully it stays relevant.
Oh, well, we saw a poster for this one, and now here's a mean-spirited Lindsay Lohan joke. It's not like that at all. This is a movie that definitely saw what The Naked Gun and Airplane and all the other Abrams Zucker movies did correctly, and was like, we're doing that. We're not going to make our humor just reference, and then occasionally a fart joke. It's, look, you know how movies like this typically have their beats that they hit all along the way? Well, we're going to hit those beats, but we're going to turn the ridiculousness up to 11.
And part of that is the fact that we have the entire cast basically playing perfectly in type.
Yeah, Liam Neeson is perfect as the hard-nosed action movie detective. Paul Walter Hauser is perfect as the second banana. CCH Pounder is perfect as the put-upon captain who refuses to let Frank Drebin play against the book.
It's basically Liam Neeson's Liam Neesoning, Paul Walter Hauser is Paul Walter Hausering, Pam Anderson is Pam Andersoning.
Pam Anderson is Pam Andersoning all over the place.
And Danny Houston is Danny Houstoning the crap out of everything.
With the biggest difference between this and the regular cop movie that these people would probably be in, being, alright, and now let's throw a bunch of stupid stuff at the wall and see what makes everybody laugh.
Yeah.
And it works perfectly. There's nothing about this movie that isn't a typical Naked Gun movie.
It is one of those things where, as Roger Ebert put it, describing some Mel Brooks movie, you load up your comedy gun with 100 bullets, and even if only 10 of those bullets hit, you're still gonna have a good time.
And the fact that this is a movie that doesn't rely too heavily on the meta humor of, we're a reboot of a spoof. People like reboots. People liked spoof movies. We're bringing everything back. We're going to do this whole thing. It doesn't rely too much on that humor, which a lesser movie probably would have. But here, it's one joke, and then they move on.
Same with O.J.
Yeah, they don't dwell on the fact that O.J. Simpson was one of the supporting actors in the 3 Naked Gun movies. It's one joke, move on, don't mention it again.
Like, they know, it's just basically like, they know they need to make this joke, and they know need to make this joke. if they don't make there's certain jokes that if you don't make them, then people are going to come away, then they're just going to feel like people are going to come away disappointed.
Especially because these are very Zucker Abrams jokes. You've got the wordplay, you've got the slapstick, you've got the random bits of wackiness. And as proud members of the Quaid Army, we could say that Akiva Schaffer is probably the perfect director to do this.
Yeah, Quaid Army, Righteous Kill.
The fact is that a lot of these bits feel like SNL digital shorts brought into a feature-length movie, and that is just kind of perfect. Because when the Zucker Abrams team just kind of all together stopped making movies in the early 2000s, it kind of feels like the guys on The Lonely Island took the baton and ran with it.
Yeah. In terms of Akiva Schaffer's previous work, this feels a lot more like Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping than Hot Rod. And that's not a dig at Hot Rod. We love Hot Rod. It's one of our favorite comedies of all time.
But it's also the fact that Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping was very much like this in the fact that we've got this roadmap of tropes and characters and all kinds of stuff that we can play with. Now let's turn the absurdity up to 11 and see what happens.
And we get all of these hilarious jokes, and it felt so good to have a bunch of people in the theater with us to laugh with us.
It's the most we've ever seen a movie by any member of The Lonely Island with people in the theater, because when we saw MacGruber, it was just us and our cousin. When we saw Popstar, it was just us and 2 other people
who came in late.
But here it was like, okay, this is not a full theater, but multiple groups of people came in and laughed along with us.
Yeah.
And nobody was like, ugh, I don't like this, I'm walking out early, like when we saw Sausage Party.
Yeah. But it was just a funny movie, and we get some great funny moments. I think the part of the issue, though, is just the fact that so many jokes were going by. We probably won't remember a good amount of them until him for a while.
The fact is that it's also just kind of a case of a lot of these jokes fly by at super speed, and you just kind of miss a few of them.
Yeah.
And speaking of missing jokes, if you really love Zucker Abrams credits, stay through the credits because they remembered to do that so much.
Yes.
And also there's a little post-credit scene for people who are fans of one of the cameos I will not spoil. But it's a love letter to The Naked Gun in ways that a fan who respects the material and knows exactly what buttons to hit to bring it back would hit, and not just, well, it's The Naked Gun, so let's just redo a couple of the classic jokes and then maybe we'll throw some stupid random shit in there too.
Yeah, especially since I'm fairly certain that's exactly what the Ed Helms version of this would have been.
Yeah, the Ed Helms version definitely would have leaned more towards the Frank Drebin as a mugging Inspector Clouseau style detective, and not this version where it's like, it's 2025, most cop movies are not about the hard-bitten film noir style guys, and they're mostly about the hard-nosed badasses that Liam Neeson plays in like every movie nowadays.
Yeah, especially since this actually says some stuff about cops.
Yeah, occasionally they'll just have a joke once or twice where it's just like, hey, you know how the institutions of police are kind of corrupt and we should probably do something about it so that the actually decent cops can do their jobs and the bad cops can actually face consequences for their actions?
Also kind of touching on toxic masculinity throughout the overarching plot.
Yeah, like Danny Houston's character is very much an avatar of toxic masculinity in way more of ways than most other movies have had. Like, it's less subtle. There's a gag about a certain thing that Tucker Carlson made an entire special about once.
And of course, one of my favorite jokes in this movie is about a particular thing that's, well, we're not going to talk about that, but it certainly will remain timely for a while.
And then, of course, there's the fact that Lauren Balfe does the score, Lauren Balfe being the guy who did, like, the last 3 Mission Impossible movies. And, of course, going back to it looks like an actual action movie, the guy, Brandon Trask, the guy who did the MacGruber movie and Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and the first episode of Barry was the cinematographer. So if anyone knows how to light stuff like this, it's him. But all in all, I think The Naked Gun is a great comedy. Hopefully it will open the door for spoof movies to get their due resurgence, especially if only because I really want Spaceballs 2, Please Don't Suck, Please Don't Suck, Please Don't Suck, Please Don't Suck to not suck.
Yeah. Hopefully it even opens the door for just comedies in general to come back to theaters.
It's really nice that we can still get comedy movies every once in a while, but I'd really like to have the communal experience of going to see one in a theater. But, yeah. That's it for right now. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment of what you may or may not have thought of The Naked Gun 2025 or the entire Naked Gun trilogy. And don't forget to tune in next time when I'm like the Crypt Keeper!
Later, Quaids.